Good morning, friends, and welcome to my today's lecture, that is the sixth part of the explanation of Lady Lazarus by Sylvia Plath. I had done most of the paragraph, 3/4 of the poetry till the last lecture. Today I'll be doing the remaining portion of that poetry. Now, in my last lecture, I had discussed about Lady Lazarus, in which Sylvia Plath says that there is a charge. She wants that the people should be charged for seeing her scars, for the hearing of her heart, and she says there is a charge for everything, a very large charge for a word or a touch or a bit of blood or a piece of my hair on my clothes. Here she recalls the 2 attempts of dying and that she becomes something like a miracle after a survival. People get so curious, and every time there is a doctor to treat her, her hair and her clothes become like a relic, a precious possession for the people. But ironically, her things are not relics, but merely out of curiosity, people wish to see them. She says that the feelings of returning from death is dramatic, like a play where she returns back to the normal life. Though she looks the same face, etc., but her existence itself becomes a kind of a miracle. Now, in the next paragraph, her doctor, her enemy. I am your opus, I am more valuable, the pure gold baby that melts to a shriek. I turn and burn. Do not think I underestimate your great concern. In these 3 paragraphs, we see that she considers the doctor to be her enemy, and she's recreated and brought back to life by the doctor itself. She becomes the composition of the doctors. She's brought back to lead a normal life. Now here, the image of pure gold baby is important for her. So she's a pure gold baby that melts to a shriek. In a sense, she becomes pure, for a search for purity was one of her quest. Now that purity and innocence she acquires after she is reborn. But she is extremely sick of all those efforts to bring her back to sanity, to cure her. She resents all these efforts made by the doctor and the other people. She gives them due credit for showing concern for her, but at the same time, she regrets their efforts. Now, in the remaining paragraphs, now say, ash, ash, you poke and stir, flesh, bone, there is nothing there. In this paragraph, we see that there is no soul. What she tries to explain is, there is no soul no reality in her existence, but just the remains of her burnt out existence. The people are trying to find her flesh bone, bring her back to life. They are trying to find fire, but there is only ash. She is also trying to universalize those incidents significant universally, because she related her incidents to universal events like the Nazi and the Jew image. She considers her experiences and universal incidents as unified together. This image of poking and stirring also relates to the phoenix relationship, which is of universal significance for her. Now, in the remaining paragraph, a cake of soap, a wedding ring, a gold filling, her God, her Lucifer, beware, beware. Out of the ash I rise with my red hair, and I eat men like air. What we see in the last two stanzas, Sylvia Plath has changed her tone. Throughout the poem, the tone was ironic comment upon her suicidal attempts, self-mockery and denunciation of herself, the feeling of triumph for her life. But now the tone has changed to that of threatening. The last three paragraphs I'll be explaining in my next lecture. Please stay tuned and like my videos and subscribe. Thank you and goodbye.